If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Quick quiz. What injury law firm has been helping people in the District, Maryland, and Virginia for over 35 years? That's right. It's Greenberg and Betterman. Auto accident? Medical malpractice? Get a free consultation by visiting gblawyers.com and feel better.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this podcast, I'm going to tell you about the time that I was tricked, bamboozled, and just hoodwinked into an event. Someone actually was able to pull a trick on me and right up under my nose throw a surprise birthday party for me. Now, I guess I probably should start this podcast off by being honest. I'm somewhat of a control freak. Not really, like you might think, but I like to be in control of things. I like to know what's going on. I'm not the person who is, going to dictate all of the events or the ideas, but I just like to know what's going on. I like to be in a loop, right? So it's very hard to get something over on me because I'm very observant. I pay attention to things. I've got my ears to the streets, if you will. But this one time, I actually got caught slipping. So here's my story. Back in 2002, wow, it's crazy to say this, but 2002, that was the year that I was going to turn 30 years old. And I really kind of came upon this idea of doing this podcast because at the time of this recording, I am just a mere few days before my 47th birthday. I turned 47 on December 9th. So I was born on December 9th, 1972, right? And what's interesting about my birthday is that, like, my birthday has always been a big deal to me. But growing up, like, I never really, and it's kind of weird to say, but I never really liked when people made a fuss over my birthday because it was a personal thing. It's your day. You kind of dictate what you do. And, that's it. It's not like, it's meant for other people. And given the fact that my birthday is so close to Christmas, I remember there were years when I was a kid, my mom was like, what you want? You want a birthday gift or you want a Christmas gift? And I was like, man, hey, just give me a cake and a card. I'll take the Christmas gifts. But nonetheless, my birthday is something very simple. And it means a lot to me, obviously. But, it wasn't until I got older when I kind of realized why people made a big fuss over your birthday. Nonetheless, again, it's something personal. So I've kind of always carried myself as that. Now, don't get me wrong. I had parties and things of that as a kid growing up, but nobody really, I never really encouraged people to, make a fuss over my birthday. All I ever asked for each year, and I still ask for it each year, is a cake and a card. Because, that was cool to me, just to get a birthday cake and a card. And that was it. Like, I never really asked for anything deep from my parents. And, subsequently, as I gotten older and then started my own family and got married and the whole nine, that's all I ever asked for, just the same thing. Now, of course, I've gotten more than just a cake and a card. But if you ask me, that's all I've ever asked for. Because, again, I'm not really one to, talk about it or I remember for years, like I wouldn't even post anything on social media, even acknowledging my birthday. And again, it's just something personal. It's not a big deal. It is to me, but I don't necessarily need it to be a big deal for other people. Nonetheless, I've kind of changed over the years, but I just want to give you some of that kind of background as I tell this story. So again, fast forward, it's 2002. And, I'm chilling, married. My wife, Sharice, and we have, at this point in time, we just have our two sons, Dion and Cameron. At the time, Dion was 3 and Cameron had just been born the previous August. So he was a couple of months old. So, it was, a great time for us. We settled into our house and everything. And it was just, we had these 2 little boys and, everything was job was going well. Money was flowing and, we were, living in Atlanta, living the American dream, I guess. Nonetheless, so I remember, I want to say it was that summer or headed into the fall. My wife came to me and she asked me, she said, well, hey, you got your 30th coming up. Do you want to do something special? I was like, just give me a cake and a card. And I'm pretty sure that probably frustrated her to no end, because if you ask me, that's what I'm going to tell you. Give me a cake and a card. Now, as I've gotten older, I'm like, yeah, okay, buy me a drink. But other than that, like, I like, again, it never, needed anybody to make a big fuss over my day. So I remember her asking me that, and I was like, I didn't really need anything. And she was kind of hinting around, the idea of, should we do you want to have a party? And I was like, and I want to say she did ask me that. And I was like, a party would be cool. I was like, but I haven't had a party in a couple of years. And it's a little bit different when you're grown as opposed to when you're younger. When you were, I don't know, 10, a party sounded really, really dope, because, all you got to do is show up, but when you're older, you have responsibilities. And again, I'm married, I got kids, got a job, she asked me about having a party and I said, yeah, that'd be cool. But, it literally kind of came and went. The idea just came and went. So I was like, all right, cool. And so time passed and I didn't think anything else of it. Right. Unbeknownst to me, she was actually planning a party. And again, I'm somewhat of a control freak. I like to know when things are going on. And I want to use the term control freak very loosely, because I think I only try to control things like, when I'm driving or, flying a plane. I mean, I can't control that, but I like to just know what's going on. So anyway, long story short, so we're moving closer and closer to, towards December, which is when my birthday is. And so again, I'm not even thinking anything of it. And so here's what she did. And I had no clue. All right. So my school, my alma mater, the place where I met my wife and the place where I played football and got my college degree, the greatest university, South Carolina State University. We were playing a football game. It was called the Peach Classic here in Atlanta one weekend in November. I think it was the weekend before Thanksgiving. And so that particular weekend we were playing against our arch rival, North Carolina A&T, a team that in a school that we, kicked their ass so much. I mean, it wasn't even really competitive, but nonetheless, we were playing them here. And so anytime South Carolina State and North Carolina A&T play against each other, it's a big deal. Like, it's a huge, huge deal, particularly amongst the alumni. And given the fact that, I lived here in Metro Atlanta and there was a lot of South Carolina State alums living in Metro Atlanta, and North Carolina A&T alums, and alumni bases, I knew that there was going to be a lot of people in town, for the game. So we started making these plans about, going to the game and everything like that. So we were talking to our friends and things of that nature. And so I reached out to, two of my best friends. You've heard them here on the podcast, D Love Hall and Easy Does It VA, aka Derek and Zell, right? So Zell was living in Virginia, Derek was living in Charlotte. And so I reached out to him, and because for the three of us, we had been going to the South Carolina State versus North Carolina A&T game for the past couple of years. The game had been held in Charlotte, and this was the first time it was being held in Atlanta. So I hit him up, and I was like, yo, y'all want to come down, kick it with me this weekend? We'll check out the game and, kick it and do what we normally do. Like that. And it was like, all right, bet. So, it was much to my surprise, my boys are coming down. So I was like, okay, cool. So again, this is November, right? This is a month before my birthday. I have no idea, that anything is taking place. Unbeknownst to me, my wife had already reached out to Derek and Zell. And so she had already confirmed with them that, there was going to be a surprise party that particular weekend and that Friday night. And the game was that Saturday. And the way that she was able to pull this off was she knew that everybody would be coming in town for the game. And she knew that I wouldn't have a clue that people would be coming in town for the game and then coming to a party. And she managed to keep that a secret. And so the whole time that I'm preparing for this game, or preparing for, to have because I was only concerned about my friends coming into town. The whole time that I'm doing that, she is master planning a party, a surprise party that was to be held at our house, right? So the weekend comes, and again, I'm pumped up. I think I left work early or something like that, and I'm happy because again, my boys are in town, my school is here. And we had already made plans. We said we were gonna hang out Friday night, and we were just gonna go to some club and just kick it and just drink and have a good time, and then we was just gonna kick it and then get ready for the game the next day or the whole night. So everything's in place. So maybe about a week before the game, I was on my computer and my desktop, and I got and this was back when what was the thing called? Instant Messenger was pretty popular, right? I got an instant message from my boy B Mac. Shout out to B Mac. And it was weird because B Mac saw that I was online, so he popped in. He was like, "Yo, what's up, Katie?" And I was like, "Yo, what up, B Mac?" And he, we were talking back and forth or whatever like that. And the last thing that he said was, he was like, "Yo, I'm looking forward to this party." Party. And I mean, it registered, but it didn't register, right? I didn't think to ask him what party was he talking about, because I think B Mac was living in Charlotte at the time. So I didn't know what party he was talking about. Or maybe he was coming in town for the game and he was going to hit some parties or something like that. And I never asked him what party was he talking about. And so I just, I didn't make anything of it, and we ended the conversation. But what was interesting was when I finished talking to him on Instant Messenger, I didn't close out the discussion on Instant Message. I just left the message up, right? And so my wife sees it. And if memory serves me correctly, she was panicking because she thought B-Mac had told me, or she thought at the very least that I'd figured it out. And what was interesting was she had created a spreadsheet on the desktop, and I didn't even see it. It was right. It was like it was right there, and I didn't see it. And I just, kept going with it because it was in like an Excel spreadsheet. And so I just kept moving, whatever. And honestly, what B-Max said, it registered, but it didn't register, right? So I just kept moving. But meanwhile, unbeknownst to me, my wife was scrambling because she thought she thought the B-Mac had spilled the beans. And so I'm just going along. And then so I remember the Friday came of the surprise party. And I remember I got home from work and Sharice was upstairs and she was just, and what was weird was I got home from work and our sons, Dion and Cameron, they weren't here. Now keep in mind, Cameron's only a couple of months old at the time and Dion's 3 and they're gone. I'm like, yo, where the boys? And she was like, I took them over to mom's house. I told my mom we're going to be hanging out. So they're just going to spend a weekend over there. And I was like, okay, but I mean, I would have liked to have seen my sons before we hung out. And I mean, I thought that was very, considerate of her, but I guess, whatever. So I'm like, I found that to be odd because normally if the boys were going to spend the weekend or even spend the night, I'd at least get a chance to see them. So I didn't even get a chance to see them. So I was like, all right, well, I was a little down by that. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't get a chance to see them, but I mean, they're my sons. They weren't far away. So, I was going to see them again. Nonetheless, I just remember like she was on the phone and, like anytime I walked in a room, she'd walk out the room. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell is wrong with this chick? And she walked in a room like she was in the kitchen. I walked in the kitchen. She walked out of the kitchen. She went upstairs in our bedroom. I walked in the bedroom. She walked out. And now all the while she's on the phone and I could kind of tell like she's talking to someone or talking to different people. And the conversation was just, I was trying to pick up on the conversation and it didn't, I don't know. It was just like almost like she was talking. It sounded like she was giving someone directions. Right. And I was like, well, I didn't really I just kind of chalked it up as, okay, well, whatever, like it wasn't any big deal. And so she got off the phone and so Derek and Zell had a hotel downtown. And so I was supposed to be going down there to meet them and hang out with them. And that's what we were going to do. And, I told her, that we were going to hang out, whatever. And I told her, I told her I'd be in late, but, 1 or 2, I don't know, depending on how the night went. But I was, wasn't like I was going to spend the night with them. So nonetheless, she walks in the room and she's like, what's taking you so long? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, you're not dressed yet? And I was like, should I be? I was like, it's 6 o'clock. She was like, well, your friends are in town. They're waiting on you. You should be leaving. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Her phone call made me like kind of pause a little bit, but then that question made me feel like she was trying to get rid of me. Not that I thought she was cheating or anything like that. It just seemed real odd that she was it felt like she was, because she asked me twice why I wasn't ready to leave. And I'm like, you're not going with me. So what does it matter, whether or not I'm ready or not? And so it felt like she was trying to push me out the house. Right. And I was like, well, what are you about to do? She was like, well, I'm going over here with my girlfriend, and she was just telling me what they were going to do. She ran down the list of all the stuff they were supposed to be doing. And so I was like, okay. I was like, so I'm still in my mind, I'm trying to figure out like, you're going somewhere, where I'm going. You just told me where you're going. And why are you trying to push me out the door? So anyway, so I get my stuff together. I get G'd up. I didn't even get dressed up. I threw on like a pullover. I had on like some jeans and some Timbs, and I was chilling. So I get in the car, drive downtown, meet up with D and Zell, and so I go see them in a hotel room. We in there clowning, laughing about old times, and just having a good time. As I'm genuinely happy to see my boys, and again, these you've heard them on this podcast. These are my childhood friends, and so I think Sharice called me and she was like, well, did you make it downtown yet? I was like, yeah, I'm here. I was like, so that even that conversation was kind of weird because she called me to confirm that I made it downtown. And she was like, okay, well, I'm leaving now. I was like, well, I guess the thing was, I was like, well, why are you calling me to tell me that you're leaving? I knew that you were leaving. So, I mean, like, the whole shit seemed odd. But unbeknownst to me, I did not know that a surprise party was about to happen. And so I get down there and I'm chilling. We having a good time. And then so my boy Mo calls me. Now, you've heard me talk about Mo on this podcast before. Mo is one of my best friends. We met and played ball together at South Carolina State. So this is one of my boys from college. And so I'm talking to Mo, and, you know, we just chopping it up or whatever like that. He's in town for the game, and, you know, he's telling me about all of this stuff and these things they're going to do, whatever like that. And he was like, well, yeah, he was like, well, me and my wife about to stop by your house. I was like, okay, well, okay. I was like, well, Sharice just left. He's like, no, I just talked to her. She's still there. And so he said she had to come back home for something or something like that. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay. and so I'm by this time I think I had like a drink or two in Zell's room. And so I'm ready to get outside, right? I'm trying to get in these ATL streets. I'm trying to touch the people because I'm a man of the people, right? And so I tell them, I was like, yo, man, y'all ready to go? And it was like, man, we got time. So even Derek and Zell were kind of dragging. I'm like, I'm really chomping at the bit to get out and just get loose. Keep in mind, it wasn't my birthday, so I had no clue as to what was about to happen. I just knew my boys was in town, you know, and I wanted to show them a good time in Atlanta, just like they show me a good time anytime I go to Charlotte. And so anyway, so somehow me and Mo got off the phone, and then Mo called me back, and I was like, I sent Mo straight to voicemail. I sent him straight to voicemail. And so somehow, some way, Mo ends up calling Zell. I don't know how. I guess he got his number from Sharice. And so Zell says, yo, we about to leave, but before we leave, we got to go back to your crib. And I was like, well, we got to go back to my house for? He's like, well, Mo is at your house and he want to come with us, but he needs a ride because his wife is going to have the car. And I'm like, for real? I was like, man, you got to be kidding me. And I feel bad about it because I love Mo to death. He's literally a brother, just like Derek and Zell. And so I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. I didn't want to go back to my house to get Mo. I didn't want to go home. I mean, because I guess the best way I can explain it, like, my house is like, I don't know, 15 minutes from downtown. It's not far, but it was like where we were going was literally 2 blocks away. So I'm like, we got to go, you know, we literally could have walked to the club. And instead, we got to drive 15 minutes to my house and then 15 minutes back downtown just to get Mo. I was like, man, Mo can't catch no ride. Again, this is 2002, so there's no Uber, there's no, Lyft or anything like that. So, I'm low key pissed off at Mo because I'm itching to get in the streets. And so Derek and Zell are playing it cool. It's like, man, no, ain't no problem, man. I was like, man, this y'all burning gas. It was like, it don't matter. It's like, we ain't got no problem. We can go get Mo. It's all good. It's all love. It's like, man, just chill. So I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'll never forget, Zell was bumping the DJ, whatever the latest DJ Clue mixtape was. Zell always had the Clue exclusives. And so we're leaving, and keep in mind, I left my car at the hotel. So we're leaving, going back to my house to go pick up Mo. Now by this time, it's probably about 9 o'clock. And so it's dark. And so we're driving, and I'm in the back seat. Again, I've already had 2 drinks. So I'm not drunk by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm feeling smooth with a V. And I'm really kind of pissed because I'm like, I didn't want to go back and get Mo. And again, I love Mo to death, but I didn't want to go get him. I was like, we're right here at the club. It's like literally around a corner. And so I was like, all right, man, let's just go. So we're riding. And for some reason, it seemed like it took forever to get to my house, right? So we pull in the subdivision. We ride and ride. And again, Derek and I think Zell was driving. Derek was in the passenger seat. I'm in the back seat. And it's taking us forever to get there. So we finally, I guess the best way I can describe it for those of you who have never been to my house before, which would mean all of you, when you turn into the subdivision, I live in the back of the subdivision. And so there's a couple of winding streets, you turn. And then so when we got to my street, I started seeing a bunch of cars outside. Like it was mad cars on both sides of the street. And I was like, oh shit. And I literally said, because I mean, anytime you see like a whole bunch of cars, you know that somebody's having a party. I mean, it's nothing for, people in my neighborhood, on my block, on my street or whatever, to have parties. And, normally if somebody, if a neighbor or something has a party, they will, ring your doorbell and tell you to come over, whatever. Like they cool like that. I don't really know them like that, but they cool like that. Nonetheless, we turned the corner. I'm like, and I literally said, oh snap, somebody having a party? And Derek and Zell just started laughing. And then we turn and we drive down my street, and they don't pull into the driveway, but I realized like it's like 5 cars on my driveway. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I literally said, yo, what the fuck is going on? And by then it's starting to come to me. It's like, wait a minute. You gotta be kidding me. There's a party going on at my house and I know nothing about it. And then it all came to me. Back to what B Max said. He was ready for the party. And so I was like, oh snap, they threw a surprise birthday party for me. So we get out the car, and Zell and Derek are cracking up at this point because they know, I know it's a surprise party, but I'm still surprised, even though, because when I tell you it was crazy, I would have never guessed it. So I walk in the house and everybody yells, obviously surprise. And I was blown, man. I was blown because again, I wasn't really a fan of people making a big fuss over my birthday, and to have all of these people here to celebrate my birthday, it was really, really fun. By my estimation, it was about 70 people in my house. And we have a nice size house. It ain't something that'll be on MTV Cribs, but we have a nice size house. And it was literally people and it was so dope, man. What was really cool about it was that it was so many people from school because people were in town for the game. So that was the cover up. The game was the big smoke screen because that was the event that got people in town. And so my wife, being the genius that she is, she said, well, hey, if people are going to be in town, this would be a perfect time to throw him a surprise birthday party. Because again, this party was like November 17th or something like that. My birthday isn't until December 9th. And it was a great way to turn 30. And I was blown away. Like I couldn't stop smiling. I came in, I dapped everybody up. I gave hugs. I gave my wife a kiss, and I was like, I can't believe you did this. And she was like, I got you. And she knows me better than anybody. And she knows, like, I'm not, if she had asked me, hey, let's throw a party at the house and do it like this, I probably would have been like, nah, that's cool. I probably wouldn't have signed off on it, but I'm so glad that she did. And, I've had, every birthday is a dope birthday. Even my 19th birthday, where I took like 4 finals on my birthday in college. But But yeah, that one was really, really special because, you know, you don't ever anticipate something like that. And then really for people coming and showing love. And I mean, like, again, everybody was there. My teammates, some of my teammates, people that I went to school with, people that, you know, I grew up with. My brother was there, his wife, my sister-in-law, I mean, everybody. I think the only people that weren't there were Dion and Cameron, and they really couldn't have been there. But it was dope, man. My boy DJ Turk Nice was in there in the house, and he had a DJ booth set up and everything. He played music, and I mean, like, music was vibrating throughout the house. And I mean, it was people. We had, man, it was so much food, so much liquor. I had a huge birthday cake, and in the middle of the birthday cake, and I think I may post a picture on here. In the middle of the cake was a picture of me when I was 4, I think. And what my wife did, I guess they had the picture superimposed or whatever like that, and they put it on the cake, and it said, "Happy 30th birthday, Kyle." And it was really dope, man. It was really dope. And so before I could do this podcast, I was like, yo, I gotta find the pictures from that party, because like I just gotta look at it. And because if I couldn't find the picture of, you know, the part, if I couldn't find any pictures of the party, I was like, it would be hard for me to do this podcast, because I felt like that would be important. But yeah, it was really dope. It was really, really dope. Now, I will say, while this it's easily one of the best birthdays that I've ever had, the best birthday gift I would receive a mere 4 years later. 4 years later, in 2006, the best birthday gift that I ever got was, I actually got it not on my birthday, but the day after, December 10th, our third son, Brandon, was born. And yeah, that was crazy too, because Brandon, if you see a picture of him, he looks just like me. And he is well, I mean, all of the kids are special, but I mean, like, he is a lot like me. Now, he doesn't have the same attitude that I have. He has he's pretty mean. Or at least he used to be. I can't say that he's mean now, but when he was little, he was mean. But yeah, Brandon was, and it's weird because I remember we went out to dinner. We went out to dinner for my birthday, and we were at where did we go? The steakhouse, name's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I'll probably remember after I stop recording. So we're out at my birthday dinner, and Sharice is having contractions. And the waiter comes over, he was like, "Do you need to take this to go?" I was like, "No, she's okay." You know, so she's just having a few contractions. And so after our dinner, we actually left and went to the hospital, and she hadn't dilated far enough, but the next day we had to go back, and Brandon was born. So in 2006, that was the best birthday gift that I've got. But hands down, unequivocally, probably the best birthday party was a surprise birthday party for the 30th. And you know, it's something that I always cherish. And I think for me, one of the things that I've learned is that I've kind of gotten past the idea of people not allowing people to make a fuss about you. Maybe you should let people make a fuss about you on your birthday, because it's one of the ways that people can show that they love you and that they care. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that, you know, birthdays are pretty special. If for no other reason, you got a chance to see it, you know, because there's a lot of people, you know, who aren't going to see a birthday. And, you know, for that, you know, I'm thankful. So trust and believe, whenever you hear this podcast, December 9th will roll around. And when it does, I'm going to be somewhere having a good time. Maybe not as much fun as I had for the surprise party, but a lot of fun nonetheless. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for checking out the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.
If you work in university maintenance, Grainger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Grainger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, visit Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.